Oslo has clearly failed, and yet the UN, the EU, and all the other nations say that the two-state paradigm is the only possibility of bringing peace between Israel and the Palestinians. Could you comment on this?
Well, first of all, it is total nonsense to think that the Palestinian state will be peaceful, because a Palestinian state will be taken over by Hamas inevitably, either by elections, as happened already in January 2006, when Hamas won the majority of the seats of the Palestinian Legislative Council, or by force, as happened in Gaza, when Hamas took Gaza over by force in June 2007. So either by elections or by force, a Palestinian state in Judea and Samaria will be another Hamastan. So this is why the two-state solution will not survive, because Israel will inevitably have to destroy this terror state in Judea and Samaria. Therefore, the only solution is to adopt the only successful paradigm which works in the Arab world, which is the Emirate solution, because all the other conglomerates of states like Syria, Iraq, Libya, Yemen, Sudan, Lebanon are failing states. The only successful states are in the Gulf, and not because of the oil. Dubai has no oil. Iraq has a lot of oil, and Libya as well. And these two countries are hell on earth, while Dubai, for example, without oil, is a heaven on earth. So it's not the oil, evidently. So what is the reason for the success of the successful countries in the Gulf? The fact that each and every one of them is based on one single tribe. And when the society is homogeneous, nobody fights anyone, the leadership is legitimate, and the country is flourishing. While in the conglomerates of tribes, clans, ethnic groups like Arabs and Kurds, religious groups like Muslims, like Christians, Alawis, Druze, and others, and sectarian groups like Shia and Sunni, all these countries are failures. This is why we should seek the homogeneous way how to build emirates on the ruins of the PA, which is another conglomerate. And this is actually the map. First of all, the state of Gaza is already a state for 15 years. Successful state, functioning state from the initial point of view. Of course, we have problems with Gaza, but we learned how to live with an enemy near us. And since they already fragmented the PA by dividing it, we can continue what Hamas started by establishing an emirate in Hebron for the clans of Hebron, which live peacefully for centuries already. And they have actually a tribal court which deals with every feud and every problem within hours. They solve every problem. Another emirate in Jericho for the Arikat clan. By the way, in Hebron, there are 5 clans: Jabri, Kawasme, Natche, Tamimi, Abu Snena. Here we have Arikat, different clan. In Ramallah, another different three groups: the Barghoutis, Tawil, and Abu Ain. Nablus, Al-Masri, Tukan, and Shaq'a. These are the clans of Nablus. Tulkarem, the Karmis, and so forth in Kalkilia and Jenin, while Israel should forever remain in the rural areas, including Jerusalem, and offer Israeli citizenship to the villagers, while each and every one of these emirates will give citizenship, its local citizenship, to the people who live in these city or city-states or emirates. And this is the only way how to achieve a peace based on the sociology of the Arab world, rather than dreams about nations which do not exist. Because unfortunately, there is no Iraqi nation. There are Iraqi citizens, but not Iraqi nation. Just like there is no British nation. There are English, there are Welsh, there are Scots, and there are Irish. And nobody claims that Irish and Scots are the same nation. They are same state, yes. They have the same citizenship, but they are not one consolidated nation. So whoever understands what happens there in Britain can understand what is happening in the Middle East, when states with also many groups do not galvanize their population into one nation because they don't get married with each other. And therefore, the states in the Middle East, the failing states, actually failed to settle in the hearts of the people and to replace the traditional loyalties. Only when you create emirates on the basis of clans, the state is legitimate. And this is why this is the only solution which is sustainable, because it is based on the sociology rather than dreams about nations which do not exist.
How do these various clans view the Palestinian Authority right now?
Just like in Syria, where the state is viewed as the enemy of the people, in Iraq, the state is, at least it was viewed when Saddam was there, it was viewed as the enemy of the people. The same thing in Libya with Gaddafi. The same thing in Yemen with Ali Abdullah Saleh. The same thing is here. Abbas is viewed as the enemy of the clans because he wants to marginalize the role of the clans in order to galvanize them all. However, they speak in different dialects. The dialect of Hebron is different from the dialect of Nablus. They don't speak the same language. The concepts are different. Hebron is much more conservative society rather than the other parts. And there are many differences. And the chance that they galvanize themselves into one nation is more or less the chance that the Scots will start speaking like the Welsh.
Can we just talk about Hebron for a moment? There's a real Jewish connection to Hebron with the Machpelah cave and the burial sites of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob there. If that became an emirate, how would that work as far as the Jewish community that's now back in Hebron?
Well, the Jewish community which today lives in Hebron is in very good relations with the leadership of the clans of Hebron. I myself sat with the leadership of the Jewish community in Hebron. Sheikh Jabri invited us all to be his guests for the iftar meal after the fast during the Ramadan one day. He treated us very nicely. He speaks with us, like brothers, because we understand what they want. People in Hebron want independence. In Hebron, they don't need Nablus, they don't need Ramallah, they don't need the others. And for them, they could even join the Abraham Accords in Hebron if they have a state in Hebron. And this is why I advocate this plan as the only peace plan which can survive in the atmosphere of the Middle East.
And can they keep Hamas out?
Wherever and whenever a clan becomes the master of a space, they kick out the jihadists before the others even realize that the jihadists came there. They smell them from kilometers, and they understand what these people want. They want to undermine the stability of the clan. They want to undermine the source of income of the clan, and this is why the clan is the biggest enemy for the jihadists. This is why I'm more than sure that Hamas will have no presence in these emirates if they get the real authority and the responsibility for the place. If you give them the authority, they will take responsibility. In the Middle East, the most important thing, in order to solve problems, you have to study the culture of the Middle East, the languages of the Middle East, how people feel, what motivates people, what deters people, what makes them happy, and what makes them sad. And this is actually what culture is. The new generation of politicians in Europe are clueless about the Middle East.